Welcome to Gates of the Arctic National Park. This might be the most remote national park in the USA. It sits entirely above the Arctic Circle in central Alaska. It's the second biggest park, but it's the least visited park, attracting only 12,000 visitors a year. That's an average of only 33 visitors per day. The reason why so few people make it here is that it has absolutely no roads. This is as wild as it gets. It's just you and nature. I visited Gates of the Arctic as part of a small group tour. Here's what I saw in this remote wonderland. The main way people get to Gates of the Arctic is by bush plane. You can take a small plane ride from towns like Bettles or Fairbanks and land on a lake or a gravel sandbar. From there, you unload your gear, set up camp, and wait for your plane to return a couple days later. Some of the best views of Gates came while flying in on the plane. We could see the meandering rivers, thick forests, and impressive mountain peaks. We landed on this gravel riverbed on the Ambler River in the park's western edge. This was our camping home base for what was supposed to be 2 nights, but turned out to be 3. After the plane took off, the 7 of us were the only humans for miles in every direction. The setting was perfect. Sunny skies, temperatures in the 70s, and a gorgeous, clear river flowing just beside our campsite. We decided to hike down the river a bit to explore our surroundings. There are no actual hiking trails anywhere within Gates of the Arctic, so we just started walking. It was a feeling of total freedom. Right away, we started running into cotton grass, these tall grasses with white tufts at the end. This is a favorite food of caribou and sometimes grizzly bears. The native tribes who lived in this area would eat the roots of the plant and use the leaves for medicine. This is a harsh landscape for plants, but I was impressed that some were able to thrive, including fireweed and a few wildflowers. As the hike continued, we encountered several stream crossings. This is why we brought waterproof boots. Surprisingly, we never saw any major wildlife on the hike, but we did see signs of their presence all over the place, like these faint bear tracks in the sand, and this pile of moose poop, and these moose tracks in the mud. We also came across a bighorn sheep antler. How cool to see one of these just lying on the ground during a hike. Not far away, we found part of a sheep's skull. Those little nubs are where the horns attach to the skull. The best part of the hike was just taking in the scenery as we walked through the shrubs and small plants in the mountain valley next to the river. Back at camp, the river was just too tempting to pass up. Some folks went fishing, while some of us decided to brave the ice-cold waters for a swim. It was so refreshing. It was fascinating seeing the different colors and types of rocks along the shore. After a good night's sleep, it's daylight 24 hours here in the summer. We awoke to a cold, rainy morning. After cooking up breakfast, it was time for another hike. The raindrops were relentless, so my waterproof coat and pants were required, along with a mosquito net. Since yesterday we stayed near the river, today we decided to go up into the boreal forest that dominates the park. But first, we had to cross the river again. After that, we began walking on the spongy ground in the forest. Here's a mysterious bone from an unknown animal. And this looks like part of a jaw, perhaps from a moose or caribou. For a while, we stayed close to the river. And then we headed up the mountain a bit. From here, the views of the river valley were great, even if the skies were dark and foggy. We enjoyed the views, then headed back to camp. This was the end of the major hiking excursions we did in Gates of the Arctic. It continued to rain for another 24 hours, and it was so foggy that our plane could not come pick us up. So, we got an extra day in the park. I did a couple more short hikes on my own, trying to overcome the soggy and cold conditions by reminding myself how lucky I was to be in such a remote wilderness. Finally, the next morning, we got word that our plane would be able to pick us up. Before leaving, we had to take a few more pictures. Since Gates of the Arctic doesn't have a welcome sign, we brought our own. Visiting Gates of the Arctic National Park was a once-in-a-lifetime thrill. I highly recommend camping there if you have the time and budget to make it happen. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe and click the bell button to see more of my off-the-beaten-path hiking adventures.